everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tube, where it's ActionX's premiere show where we talk about all things TV, whether it's doing episode by episode reviews of any currently on the air TV show, reviewing season by seasons of currently established shows or finished shows, or doing, for the very first time, a first impressions. This is a new thing for What's in the Tube where I watch a lot of shows and there's a lot to talk about them, but there's always just so much of a limited time to talk about them, and I always struggle, where can I fit this in, and as well as, is the attention there, because sometimes there is no attention, and I don't want to put time into something that, don't get me wrong, I love talking about shows. I could talk about every show on an episode by episode basis if I could. I just don't, but there's a lot more to talk about here. So in order to kind of feel the room a little bit, see how things go, we're doing these first impressions. That's kind of pilot episodes for potentials review series. Some might be just with me, some with me and George, some with me and Sal. It just depends on the flow of things, and also depends on the show itself. There'll be a few of them this summer to just kind of test the water out. We're experimenting with the format a little bit, so let me know. And this is just something to change, like our quick impressions, like our seasonal reviews, our episode predictions. It's all something to change. So anyway, enough of the backstory. Let's go for this one. Monsters at Work. I kid you not, when they announced this show, I was like, finally, let's go. I love, people always say Toy Story, Incredibles, Ratatouille, best Pixar franchises in the world. For me, I've always had a soft spot for the monsters. I want to say I watched Monsters Incorporated first when I was a kid. I don't remember. I really don't. I was a kid. I have the original VHS. I should have brought it out here, but I didn't. But I love that movie so much. It was so emotional, even as a kid. I didn't cry. It's very hard for me to cry in movies, but seeing that movie specifically, I really felt emotional by it, and I felt like, wow, I want to see more of this world. When that first movie ended, and we saw the tease of Boo and Boo and Sully's reunion, it was just I want to see that next thing. And I would always play that VHS tape in hopes maybe there was a segment missing. And I understand now that the whole reason they didn't continue that from that moment on is to kind of just leave it open for interpretation on how that reunion went. And I've imagined that memory so much in my mind. But now that we're here, well, first of all, I forgot, Monsters University was a movie too. I really like that movie too. And I'll say this in terms of a quicker version of a first impressions. I love Monsters at Work. So far, it is respecting the two films that came before. It is literally the perfect continuation of this universe, where I heard of the rumors of that Monsters Incorporated 2 that was going to be made by Circle 7. I read about it to death. There's actually a new video that just posted about it recently. And honestly, I would have been down to see that movie, but at the same time, I think this is the right avenue to continue the main story, where we are not picking up after the epilogue. We're not picking that up. We're in between the ending and the epilogue. So we're still in that 1 year time zone now. How long is this show going to stretch that time period out? Your guess is as good as mine, to be honest. I don't know either. But for what I can tell you is that so far this seems like the best version of the continuation of the story. And I want to talk about, also, this will be similar to my episode reviews, where I'm going to break down each episode, in this case, both episodes. So there will be spoilers, so if you haven't seen the first 2 episodes of Monsters at Work, please turn away now, because I'm going to spoil the hell of it. Because I'm actually surprised how much there is to spoil about it, because seeing the premise alone in the first trailers, I was very excited for this. I was also holding my expectations, since this is a Pixar show, but it's not made by Pixar. It's made by a different animation studio. So because for me, when I was hearing about this show, I got really concerned that, well, are they really going to recreate it, or are they just going to do that, like they did for the Tangled show, Big Hero 6, where it's it's not CG, it's just 2D animation, and they're just trying their best to respect it, which isn't that bad, but I've always clamored for an actual style from the movies to the show, and finally getting it here. And the animation studio, I forgot which one they did this show, but they did such an amazing job recreating that style of Pixar. It's literally the closest thing to a Pixar show we'll get at the moment. I know they're making their own TV show, but that's going to be a little bit of ways away on Disney Plus, I think next year. But on to here, to start with Monsters at Work. First 5 minutes, I'm already in, because they really, first of all, they actually acknowledge Monsters University is a movie. Like it's canon because for so long, because it was a prequel, like we never saw any sort of like real connection between MI and MU. Now here at MW, we actually get to see a real correlation because literally, they first of all they brought back Professor Knight, which is played by the amazing, as always, Alfred Molina, who's going to be in Spider-Man No Way Home. Sorry, Kevin Feige. And I was so excited. Like at first, like, is this just a voice replicator? Could they just not afford Alfred Molina? I mean, he is a voice actor now. He does mostly voice acting now. He doesn't really do that many big roles anymore. Until No Way Home. But I was really surprised it was him, and it was so great to see him again, to be back in that classroom again. And even though for me it was like 8 years ago when I saw that movie for the first time, it still felt like coming home a little bit. Not that I finished university as well as like it kind of felt great, and also a little bit contrived that they didn't really explain if our main character Tyler Tussman is a graduate because he was still at the campus, but then this Professor Knight gives him a letter like, "Oh, you're hired, you're done." So it's like, is there not a proper graduation ceremony at MU, or can just anyone just skip the levels? I never really got that. That's the only thing I have a little bit of an issue from in terms of like that little continuity thing. Well, I have another continuity issue, but I'll get to that in a bit. But it was nice to like get a proper MU acknowledgement, and we got more references in this episode specifically on MU. So when we come to later, actually picking up with the events of Monsters Incorporated, the next day after the day where, and this is my only one problem with this, is that Sully is acting very chill. I know they're trying to make this stand alone, that yeah, Monsters Incorporated did happen. They do make references to that, but it's just so weird how, at least for me, that Sully is like really just not focusing on the Boo situation. It's like Boo is not even touched upon, and I really hope we get an episode this season or something like that where we actually get to talk about that ramifications, because I know right now there's priorities of, we got to save the company, we got to keep these people employed, we got to keep the city alive and well, because we're the only major source of electricity. So I know there's a lot on their plate, but having a brief reference or an acknowledgement of Boo would have really cemented, like, yes, this is still something that we're going to play with Sully's character this season, even though technically this is mainly Tyler's show. But Sully and Mike are still going to have their own story, that from what I'm seeing so far in this run. So anyway, going back to things, again, also shout out that they brought back, I think, pretty much every single voice actor from the first movies, the first movie obviously, to this one. And also another thing, before I really just get back to the plot, I really hope, because we got that Monsters University reference in this episode, that we're just going to get a ton. Hopefully we get to see the actual Monsters University character, the Uzma Kappas of this series. I really want to see them again and have them interact with Mike and Sully now in a much more adult phase in their life. I really hope we get that, but who knows? I mean, that could just be blowing their load entirely for season 1, but I'm like, come on. You got to go big, you got to go home, because I'm pretty sure a second season will be probably in 2023 by this point. Back to the plot. Again, getting back to things, seeing Jennifer Tilly again as, I'm still bad at names, even with stuff that I've acknowledged myself since childhood. I forgot her name. Cecilia. Yeah, now I remember. Getting to see her again, getting to see Ross again in that iconic voice, and it's so raspy. It's just like it's so intriguing, the voice, and I'm just like, wow. I missed that voice so much. I really did. And I was actually surprised this was the way they got promoted. Like, yeah, we had a board meeting literally yesterday. You're promoted. You're the new heads. Go run the company. Go save the day. Also, I have a sister, supposedly. Ironically, like, I'm not going to be around, but I have a sister that's almost exactly like me. That's going to be basically exactly the same as me, except probably with a better style of hair and a different color scheme in terms of the shirt. And again, hearing Billy Crystal and John Goodman back as the proper voices of Mike and Sully is like perfect. It's just like, it's like a movie. It's like they never left. It's perfect. It's almost exactly the same since they were younger. I'm actually surprised. Like, the older they get, actually in MU they sounded younger, and now here they sound exactly the same since 20 years ago. And I'm just like, oh, I love this universe so much. I really do. And then just seeing like the parallels of like just having like Tyler, like, here's another thing. This is my last continuity issue with this. I know the whole the Monsters Incorporated, like the whole blow up with Water News and the whole controversy, and then the change from scare power to laugh power. I'm actually surprised it did not hit MU like until like, and also Tyler was completely oblivious to it. I know it was like literally the day before, but newspapers be fast on that stuff. It really does, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna somehow integrate cell phones into this show at some point. So the fact that no one knew about it is kind of like, I found that a little hard to believe, and I know that was just to sell the premise that like Tyler's just immediately shocked and he's just like his entire world shattered. Because let's be honest here. I mean, we never got to really see the ramifications of like basically now like when we ended the first movie like shifting over to scared to laugh out, like obviously at the end of the movie, it's like at the epilogue, like, oh, everyone's happy, like we got so much more power, we solved the energy crisis. But at the same time, you kind of took away a major industry in the scare industry, as well as Monster University, from what we got in the prequel movies. Like that was established to be a school mainly for scaring, and you basically took away its biggest major. Like that was the only one problem I had with the prequels, that the first movie really set up the importance of scare going from the past into to that point of the present. Going back to the past, just to focus on like how big scaring was for that school and its legacy, then have the first movie basically destroy the credibility. Well, not the credibility, destroy the entire fabric of that. Is just, I felt so sorry for them, and again, we will probably never really see the ramifications of that universe unless we get like a episode where they go to visit or establish the College of Comedy or something, which would have been cool. Which would be cool to see. I would be down to go back to MU for like an episode, but regardless of that, like they really just blew up that entire major and that entire foundation of the university. So hopefully with this show, we're getting to see through Tyler's eye. Like Tyler grew up similar to Mike and Sully and a lot of other people. Like they grew up wanting to be scarers. He finally aced everything. He was basically the closest, the next coming of like a scaring Sully, but now he finally like was literally this close to his dream, and like the whole industry's dead. It's like for example, it's like, this is a horrible acronym, but I'm just saying it like this. It's just like you study finance your entire life to get to Wall Street, and you finally get to Wall Street, and the stock market crashes. It's just like the worst timing in the world, and it does happen. And I really feel sorry for Tyler, as this episode basically destroyed his entire like worldview, and I really feel sorry for, and just seeing like the slow decline of his like his mental state, as he got the letter, he's gonna be a scarer, he's got his dream job, first day on the job, whole industry's dead. You're moving on. You're gonna be a technician worker for our company, and just seeing his face like in disbelief, just thinking like this is a joke, this is a reality show right here, where everything's fine when in reality it's not. Also, I'm also like very not surprised that they're focusing on like a whole new batch of characters instead of Mike and Sully, because we got a lot of them in the first movie, and we're gonna see them a lot here. But it was important to establish like this. There's a new cast of characters for this one. It's not just we're depending on the old one, which would have been cool to see. I would have been just down to just see Mike and Sully on the day-to-day activities. I would be down to see that. But adding this other element, it just gives another meaning to this show. Like there's more stuff at work here, no pun intended, than just Mike and Sully. And also Henry Winkler has what's his name? I don't have a name on stream. I apologize. But as one of the monsters on Myth is like, my God, perfect. I've only seen Henry Winkler on podcasts and just like in casual reference. I never seen any of his work, but like seeing him here is like, I just love his voice. It's just so hilarious. It really is. And I already love the dynamic of this Myth team. Like they're dysfunctional, but they are a family. But Tyler's just gonna take a long time to understand that reference. It really is. Also, I understand the family memes that are going on Instagram and Facebook right now because of Fast 9. I haven't seen Fast 9 yet, so if you expect me to make a spoiler or a reference, I'm not gonna. Don't worry about it. But I think the best moment of the first episode was definitely when we got to see Tyler finally meet Mike and Sully, and it's just like, even though like we're just meeting Tyler for the first time, it's just something about like seeing Mike and Sully back on that floor again after so long was just special. And then just seeing Tyler basically almost ruin everything, like letting the kid back into the monster world the second time it's happened in history, everything being destroyed, like it was just a freaking mess. And it was kind of weird, like when Tyler was like apologizing to Mike and Sully, just seeing Sully mad, like a parental figure type approach. And by then eventually seeing like, well, it's not really your fault. You tried your best and it didn't work out. And there's still opportunity here because like we're all discovering things. It's been a long day for everyone. This is the first day of a whole new way of doing business. Sully's CEO now, and he's basically got to run this entire ship so that people get to keep the job. Mike is now having to train a lot of monsters who grew up on scaring to be jokesters. It's not an easy task to switch professions or switch majors, just like that. It's not. They have a whole hill to climb, and Tyler's not to be blamed here. Sully knows of him already. That he's the reason he even got recommended for the job. And so he's not going to fire him right on the spot. Like, no, it's not your fault. There's still much more for you to do and much for you to learn. Like, this was just one mistake. You'll clean up your mistake. You're going to learn from the best. And then hopefully you'll be on the floor with the rest of us. And I can't wait to see that moment. And also seeing Rose, Roze. Okay, I know that could be just sheer laziness, but, like, it just works. I'm getting to see this one. It's like literally almost the exact same images without the glasses. Also, on these glasses, these are new. I'm gonna try and use them for the shows from now on. It was amazing. It was hilarious, and I could not wait to see the dynamic. And thankfully, Disney Plus gave us 2 episodes for the premiere, and it worked so better. It's like a mini 1-hour movie where like we get to see this new side of the world, this new segment of the timeline, and just. I definitely think these 2 episodes go hand in hand. Where, as for Tyler, he's just morally accepting the task of just understand this is my new reality for now. I will get to be a jokester, to be back on that floor, but until then, I have to deal with these people. And this is kind of giving me a lot of Uzma Kappa vibes from MU, where Tyler was like Mike and Sully in that movie, where he does not want to be there, and everyone else wants him to be there. But he has to work with what he's got in order to get where he needs to. But I really hope, similar to that movie, like we'll get to see a journey where like Tyler morally accepts them and gets used to them, and then eventually starts to appreciate them as family. I really hope we get to that moment. Seeing Mike do all the work because there's just not enough professional laughsters at the moment. Oh, jokesters. And apparently, according to Sully, he worked 18 hours straight without a break. Give the little guy some break. Like back at MU, he wanted to be on that floor, and now he is, and he's working, and he's just freaking exhausted. And I can only imagine. I guess that's what crunch feels like. And I'm not trying to say that's a bad joke. I'm just trying to say that as a reference or an anagram. But for that episode alone, I really did. I really did. It was nice to like see more of the dynamic, and also apparently there was a character called Banana Bread, and I was just like. I can make my banana bread again. I haven't made it in a while, so I might make that soon for myself. And it was just so much of a blast to be back in this world. And by the end, like seeing like there's more potential to see here with Mike's comedy classes. I really can't wait to see an actual comedy class, fruit and fruit on the show. They did like a brief segment on the end. It was actually pretty funny. I forgot what the joke was because I watched the show in the morning. I was dog sitting today, so I literally did not have even time to break out the camera and do a review right away. There was just like my house was a mess. So right now I finally got everything back to order, but it was so. I really like the show. I really do. I really recommend it. I can't wait to see. I think we're getting 10 episodes or 13 episodes this season. I forgot how many we're getting. But we're in here for the whole summer of Monsters at Work. I can't wait to watch more. And maybe I'll talk about it more. But before I get to that, I really recommend the show. The 2-parter was a perfect way to get us back into the Monsters Incorporated world. And seeing this firm third chapter in this story. And I can't wait to see what more they can do with it. Again, shout out to the animation crew for their very hard work on recreating everything. Shout out to the cast for once again returning to this universe and really picking up where those characters left off. And honestly, yeah, so far this show is really great. It is nearly perfect so far. I can't wait to see more. And that was my first impressions of it. So let me know in the comments below. What did you think of the 2-part premiere of Monsters at Work? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you respect it? Did you enjoy it? Let me know in the comments below. I'm always open to conversation down there below, so please leave a comment there, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But with that being said, again, this is a first impressions. It's basically a pilot for a potential review series. So if you want to see more of me reviewing Monsters at Work on a week-to-week basis, let me know in the comments below. Support, share with your friends, do what you need to do with it. I'll see the numbers by probably Monday night, and if we get more, then I'll do more. Otherwise, hopefully down the line I'll be able to talk about more about season 1 down the line, but we'll see where it goes. But again, if you've been unaware, this has been What's in the Tube from ActionX, doing a first impression on Monsters at Work's 2-part premiere. If you want to know what we're doing normally on What's in the Tube besides our first impressions, we're normally doing our Walker episode reviews each and every Friday mornings after a brand new episode on Thursday nights on the CW, or free the next day on the CW app. We're also doing High School Musical, The Series Season 2 episode reviews each and every Saturday mornings after a brand new episode on Friday nights on Disney Plus. Oh, Fridays on Disney Plus, not Friday nights. I'm sorry. Those are our currently 2 airing episode reviews. We do that week by week, but whenever one of those shows are off the air, which is normally now Walker in this case, we would do either a quick impressions or a first impression. But thankfully, next week we'll be back on Walker, which will be a little bit delayed since I have a wedding literally the day Walker airs, so I will not be able to catch it live. So sadly, that Walker episode will be on Saturday morning, and then the High School Musical review will be on the next Sunday morning after that. So sad to say, nothing I can do. When I come home from the wedding, I'm going to be tired, hunkered out, and I will basically have no time to review the episode. So that'll be pushed back till then. But again, if you are unaware, this has been What's in the Tube from ActionX. If you want to see more of us, please subscribe to ActionX on youtube.com/ActionX videos. Please share the video if you want to see more of me reviewing Monsters at Work on a week-to-week basis. It helps us out a lot, and and also sharing is for free, because that's just how it is on the internet. You don't have to pay for anything. Ring the bell for notification when our next video is live here in ActionX, and also follow us on social media. But until then, stay safe out there, be good to each other. Please support and share the video if you want to. But until then, peace out.